From preps to pros and everything in between, it's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
What's up? What's up on Wednesday? Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Excited to have you guys with us here on this Hump Day edition. It's exciting for so many reasons. Mainly, though, because tonight college football will be returning to the airwaves for the first time since Saturday-ish. But it kind of kicks off week one, so it is really, really exciting because my team are participating.
So who do you root for in this?
JSU. It's JSU over everybody. I am a casual UAB fan, as I am a casual Tennessee fan. So, but given if everybody that I enjoy watching is playing at the same time, I'm watching JSU. So, okay. For those of you watching on YouTube or Twitter, we have a graphic up right now, but no worries, we're getting there quickly, surely, very soon. As JP makes sure that I am square and straight.
That's no fun.
Yeah, gotta be. I mean, gotta be in that. You know, gotta be in focus too. Unfortunately, it's ideal. It's ideal sometimes when I'm not in focus, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Mo, what's going on?
It's Wednesday. It's Hump Day.
It is Hump Day.
For some reason, I've been tired this week. And staying up and watching the Braves lose on the West Coast hasn't helped any.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, if we're being honest here.
Yeah.
So, again, we have yet another very short rundown today. We need to get to that here pretty quickly. So, as soon as JP plays the music, we will kick her off.
This is the Rundown.
Oh.
No,
we're coming in dry, huh? Okay, in Tuesday, high school volleyball action, it was Brentwood 3, Franklin nothing. Nolensville defeated Ravenwood 3-1, and Summertown 3-0 over Murfreesboro Central.
And in Wednesday volleyball action, why I said Thursday, Spring Hill is scheduled to travel to Lawrence County. I don't know what time that's going to start. And in girls soccer, Coffee County is at Columbia Central at 6 p.m. Brentwood is at Summit at 7 p.m. And Columbia Academy is playing somebody right now. As I was pulling in, they were out on the field.
Are you sure it was varsity?
I don't know. I'm just saying there's somebody on Columbia Academy's field, and since they haven't played the last 2 days, maybe they decided to play today.
That could very well be.
I don't know, but that's it for today's rundown. That's JP's like, it's all we got.
That's all there is. There ain't no more.
Man, that was quick. Yeah, rain really killed our soccer this week, and then Lawrence County Schools being shut down hurt volleyball, and then there were some scores that weren't reported for whatever reason.
Various reasons.
No, there's just one, probably.
Okay.
So that's why. So coaches out there, if you are not hearing your score on the rundown, we need you to submit those to us. That's the only way we can
help us help you.
Yeah, help us help you. So.
And what is the best way to do that?
If there is a coach in this area that does not have my cell number, it's probably on them.
Let's assume somebody doesn't. How can they get a hold of you? Or if there is a non-coach that wants to help out.
MoPattonSports@gmail.com, mpatton@MainStreetMediaTN.
Perfect. There you go.
Or at Mopatin_sports on
Shoot
Twitter.
you a DM maybe. Yeah.
You can just tweet it.
Yeah.
You just tweet it to us.
Tweet it and tag us.
Yeah.
Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. We'd prefer a more direct
Yeah.
contact.
If you
but
tag us, we probably are going to see it. But
We-
if you just tweet, and it depends on what time you tweet.
if you tag us, as we pointed out to someone over the summer, we may see it, we may not. If you email us, we'll see it. So,
There you go. Top stories of the day. One of them here locally in Murray County. Finally have a girls basketball coach over at Hampshire, or
I don't know if that one really
Well, yeah,
deserves
I
a
mean,
final. That's only been open a month.
hasn't been open long. No.
So,
But we are 3 weeks into the school year
that
too.
we are.
So
That we are. Yeah. Corey Armstrong, and if you recognize that name, that's because he spent the 18-19 season as the interim boys basketball coach at Mount Pleasant, where he only went 18-12, winning a district regular season championship and taking the team to the region tournament semifinals before not being retained, is now the girls basketball coach at Hampshire.
well, there you go.
Yeah, he spent last year as an assistant at Spring Hill with Jimmy Young, and he's been teaching at Spring Hill Middle School. Will continue in that role for now, which, according to both he and Hampshire principal Sonia Cathy, it's about 45 minutes from Spring Hill
That's a
Middle
tough
School
one.
to Hampshire. You can't get there from here.
No,
You
no,
have to basically come to Columbia to start, I think. So.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But it is what it is.
Yeah. We've got an article up on the website at mainstreetpreps.com. Probably need to get it on Main Street Murray as well.
Yeah, we can get on mainstreetmurray.com/sports.
Mm-hmm.
That will be where the sports tab will, you can click the sports tab. That's where you want to go to find specific to Murray County athletics. But also, yes, mainstreetpreps.com does get you to that if it's on the front page. So, we had some new cancellations in high school football
For
due
week
to
3?
COVID,
Yeah.
and I know that one of them was Perry County and Dresden.
And I guess it was Perry County that was the, quote, offending party, because Harding County and First Assembly Christian School, FACS, we read off yesterday amongst the games that had been canceled because of COVID. So now that I've set you up, Chris.
Yeah, so I don't have a list in front of me, but what I do have is that Dresden is not going to just take the week off, despite finding out on Wednesday that their game is canceled. They are actually going to play First Assembly Christian School
FACS.
and FACS, who had a cancellation as well.
Yeah, they had a cancellation against Harding Academy.
So those two will now play one another. Sequoia Hickson, I'm not sure if that was on the list or if I need to go to the top here. Yeah, I need to go to the top here.
Yeah.
Manassas Fairley, Rockwood Cloudland, and then Perry County Dresden make up.
Also, Trinity Christian Fayette Academy, Whitwell Copper Basin, Howard, and the Kings Academy, Marion County and Tyner, Bluff City and Booker T. Washington over in Memphis. Those are all new since we read the list of 24 games yesterday.
Gotcha.
So
That's a big list. As you said, I think we've eclipsed, or
Yeah.
was it 34 last week?
it was 30
It was
last
30.
week.
So we've already eclipsed that.
We have 32 already this week, counting these 8 here. And like you said, Dresden and FACS have decided that they're going to play each other since they're available to do so. We are continuing to hold out hope that Oakland and someone will play.
Well,
this
Lipscomb
weekend.
Academy said they were in.
Lipscomb Academy said,
Did you get a reply to your DM?
I did get a reply to my DM late last night that said negotiations. So
That'll work.
we'll see. We'll see.
I'll take negotiations.
Over a flat no.
Well, I told you he wasn't going to say no.
Well,
Rutherford County Schools will be closed on Friday, but that will not affect athletics because they're closed due to staffing, not kids on the football team being affected by COVID. So,
yeah.
and then Sumner County Schools will be closed all next week, but that also will not affect football
Extracurricular activities.
or anything else.
Right.
So,
Right. So, yeah.
there you go. Finally, Shohei Ohtani. Is this guy even real life at this point? Dude, on top of his like 3.0 ERA and his league leading home runs,
He's got 40, doesn't he?
40 plus home runs on the year, dude steals home yesterday.
Just because he can.
It's like, now, granted, he didn't like Jackie Robinson or nothing, but
What was it, a first and third situation?
so first and third, dude takes off on a delayed steal
to second,
to second.
they throw through.
They throw it to they threw it to the shortstop who cut it off about where the grass starts, who then threw it back home, but Ohtani was sliding into home at the time. So, yeah, dude stole home. I mean, I don't know that there's anything he can't do. I mean, he's literally, he may be the first six-tool player I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. He's pretty special. Unfortunately, he's out there on the West Coast where we don't get to see him a whole lot.
And with the Angels, who
we don't
aren't
get
going
to
to make
see
the
a whole lot.
playoffs. So
Yeah.
it's unfortunate for the Angels, who have so many really good ball players that nobody knows.
Yeah, Trout's been hurt most of the year. hasn't
He has.
So, it's
But
tough.
over time, I mean, you would think, I don't know, you would think to me, with a guy like Mike Trout, and then you add a Shohei Ohtani into this mix, like, why are you not the team that the league is just pounding down our throats? Now, I get the Dodgers, I get the Yankees, whatever. Both of them aren't even leading their division, which neither are the Angels, but they also don't have Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout.
I just think it's another failure on the part of Major League Baseball from a marketing standpoint. Right there with making your favorite team so hard to see, whoever it is.
Whoever that team may be. That's exactly right. All right, we've got a great show for you, so we're going to set you up here. David Ubben joins us on the other side of a break, The Athletic. We'll talk Tennessee. That finishes up our Southeastern Conference preview, so check that out. Stick around on the other side of the break for that. We have Terry Wilcox talking NASCAR to close out the hour for you folks down at WZYX, and then we've got the Braves at the top of the hour. College football, pro football, and then Wild and Wacky Wednesday, all coming up in hour number 2. So stick around on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Day, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. We will return to the Lee Company studio after this.
the teams you care about. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Once again, live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. Here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Glad to have you with us here on this Wednesday edition of the show as we continue covering high school, college, and pro sports in the Southern Middle Tennessee area and beyond, because there aren't any pro sports in the Southern Middle Tennessee area. That's okay. That's one of the things that we don't have anymore, JP, with your high school sports and beyond. And so
It's still around.
I haven't been singing
It's still around.
beyond.
I'll
so-
sneak it in at some point. It's one of the short ones.
Yes, it is,
I
and
need
I
to
have
prep
to be,
you
I
for
have to,
it.
have to be ready
prepared
for that.
it, yes.
Before we get on to Southeastern Conference coverage, let's tell you about our friends at Columbia Academy.
They're scheduling visits. You can find them online at cabulldogs.org. They have campuses in Columbia and in Spring Hill, so be sure and check them out. Again, that's cabulldogs.org, Columbia Academy.
Now, see, you distracted me there, Chris.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's all my fault.
Mo, he went and
It's all
talked to
your
me,
fault.
engaged me,
It's all your fault.
got me off my game.
I apologize. I do want to tell you, I'm watching someone paint the field in Oklahoma for their upcoming game against Tulane, and it is oddly satisfying to watch someone be able to paint such a straight line with a spray nozzle painter. Like, this is insane.
Are they not following probably a yarn?
There's already they're painting like Sooners in the end zone.
Okay.
And so he's in like the N or whatever, and the white outline is already painted, so he's got to make sure that he doesn't get the red on
Stay
the
within-
white. And
within the lines.
It is a thing of beauty. So yeah,
It's talent.
it's impressive.
There's a guy who's been after us to do a story on that kind of thing.
And we could maybe, and at some point. Anyway,
There's a lot of stories we could do.
what we do need to do is talk a little Tennessee football, because they're getting ready to play tomorrow night, and they'll kick off the Southeastern Conference football season with a game against Bowling Green. But to preview their season, we have with us from The Athletic, David Ubben, who no longer covers just Tennessee. So that's pretty cool. What are you covering these days, David?
Oh, a little bit of everything. Working on a couple projects at the moment, and getting ready for the first weekend of full games. There's football tonight, by the way. UAB
we're
Jacksonville
well
State.
aware.
Oh, Chris is a Jacksonville State graduate. David, we are painfully aware that there's football tonight. So, before we dive into UT, though, since you are no longer covering UT per se for the Atlantic, where will you be this weekend?
I'm going to stick around Thursday night and cover that game. And for us, midweek visits are a little more valuable. So I will be the eye in the sky on the couch, watching a little bit of everything this weekend. And I'll be making my way around this season to a handful of places. But we'll see on game stuff. For us and our purposes, where differentiation is so important to what we do, game coverage is a little less important for us from a national perspective. So we kind of take that beat by beat.
Gotcha.
Figure out what's right for us.
I got you. Well, I think that's kind of what makes the athletic is the way you guys approach it, because you get game coverage pretty much anywhere, but it's that other stuff that y'all do that really, like you said, kind of sets you apart and kind of makes it worth that $60 a year that I spring for it. Jody, hope you didn't hear that. Anyway, David, Heupel announced Joe Milton earlier this week as a starter for the Thursday game. One, with the cloak and dagger that a lot of coaches bring into the starting quarterback announcement and that kind of thing. And two, just the quarterback competition at UT. Were you surprised, A, at the announcement, or B, at the guy?
Mildly surprised at the announcement, but at the end of the day, it's still Bowling Green. I guess no disrespect to the Falcons, but this is not a very good team that's coming in here. This is not, they're playing Alabama and trying to get any edge that they can. As far as the guy, not at all. I mean, I think, I think the day that he officially said he was coming to Tennessee that I would not bet against Joe Milton winning the starting job. And he had to go out and do it and win that job in camp. It was a long way to get to Memphis. But he had a huge upside. The staff recruited him pretty hard. And they did so, knowing what they had. And in the middle of spring, they were well aware. And so I think that says a lot, about what they felt like they had and what they were bringing in. And so, no, I'm not surprised that Joe Milton's the guy. I think he's a really good fit for this system in terms of his arm strength, being able to stretch the field and be able to also make plays with his legs. And, he's got a lot to prove considering how things ended at Michigan for him. But my colleague Joe Rexroad had a really good piece that kind of shed some light on some of that. And that, Tennessee might have pulled a really valuable piece moving forward.
Let's not give Joe too much credit.
His head's big enough, I suppose.
No question. David, with the anointment of Joe Milton as a starter, with or Hendon Hooker?
Well, I mean, I think he's your. If I had to guess, it sounds like he's the guy who'd be the first guy off the bench. But, he's got fewer options. He's a guy that was a grad transfer and came in, and you kind of know it's a short-term thing. And, I asked him when he said he was coming in, I guess it was December, I asked him, what would you think if the staff changed? And he was planning on still sticking it out regardless of what happened, and that's exactly what happened. And, this staff wasn't who brought him to Tennessee, and so I can't say you can be shocked that he didn't win the job. But he's a guy that's got a lot of experience, and the upside for him leaving is certainly less than it would be for Harrison Bailey. But with immediate eligibility, there's no advantage really of leaving now for either of those guys, but I think especially him. So you never know how the season's going to go. We still haven't seen Joe Milton. He did get benched at Michigan last year. So, if I'm both of those guys, probably behooves you to stick around and see how the season plays out for a little bit.
I didn't realize until I just pulled up the roster. Milton 6'5", 244.
Oh yeah, he is Cam Newton size. I think he plays quite a bit different, but he's a big body, and I think people will be people haven't really seen him play. I think people will be surprised at just how much the ball jumps out of his hand when he throws it. It's just effortless.
He may
throwing
be
the ball down the field.
He may be the biggest quarterback UT's ever had.
You're probably right. I have a hard time imagining anybody being that much bigger, and it shows. He's like I said, he's got a lot to prove in terms of accuracy and decision making and all those things. But, man, when he uncorks it, I'm telling you, fans are. I'm sure a lot of Tennessee fans. I would say, arguably the majority of Tennessee fans have not sat and watched him and seen him play before. And the physical tools are, Tennessee has not had a guy that has these kind of tools in quite some time.
And he's got some guys to throw it to.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing with this team is, they've for all the shortcomings of this roster and all the depth issues that they're going to run into, they inherited a lot of speed at receiver. They brought in Javonte Payton from Mississippi State, who adds some more. But you got three guys out there in Jalen Hyatt, Bayless Jones Jr., and Javonte Payton who are real burners. And that's what you need in this offense. You need guys who can stretch the field and make those safeties commit and give that opportunity for Joe Milton to put the ball down the field, and you're going to see that. And so this staff, they didn't inherit a ton. They inherited some good players, but obviously lost a lot. But the receivers that they did inherit really fit their system pretty well.
I saw where they were ranked the number 19th most talented team in the country. So I don't know what that's based on, the talent metric of, Jim Bob Cooter's, grandma's basement. I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting.
I don't know about that.
I'm just saying.
I don't know if that factors in all the losses. Yeah.
All I know is I will be surprised, if they're the 19th most talented team in the country. I don't know. That being said, yes, you have Josh Palmer and Velus Jones and big targets like Austin Pope and Cedric Tillman to throw it to, but as much passing and as much fun as the UCF passing offense is, their running backs always tend to end up being pretty important. And obviously losing Ty Chandler to North Carolina, Eric Gray to Oklahoma, Tyon Evans and Jabari Small, where do they fit?
I mean, they're good players. I mean, I don't know if you could say this offense is run first or pass first. I mean, it's a numbers game. They take a lot of what the defense gives you. If you're going to put, 5, 6 guys in the box, they're going to pound you with tight ends and try to run the ball. And if you try to put, more guys in the box and you're going to play one high safety, and they're going to run a couple verts on the outside, and wherever that safety commits, they're going to throw it to the other side. That's not, that's the best oversimplification of this offense I can give you. But unlike some of these air raid systems, this isn't an air raid system. I think you would call it probably a power spread in a lot of ways. You want to run the ball, but you want to get vertical as well and make the defense defend every inch of the field. But it's an offense that can do a lot, but it's not one that we're going to obviously throw the ball 50 times a game unless they just put 7 guys in the box and dare you to do that. And I'm not sure that Joe Milton's going to see much of that this year.
Power spread. I like that. I like that phrasing. That's
yeah. It's basically a tweaked version of the Art Briles Baylor offense is what they're running, and he had a name for it, but what Arkansas runs, what Mississippi runs, and what Ole Miss runs are all sort of cousins of each other with their own little spin on it.
As we look at this schedule, David, it actually kind of sets up for Tennessee to be bowl eligible at the end of the year. There's no reason that this team shouldn't be able to win 6 games, as long as they take one from the South Carolina, Kentucky, Vanderbilt folks.
Yeah, they'll have their options. I mean, they'll have their opportunities, no question. I mean, ultimately, I think for Tennessee, it comes down to, that Pitt game is a massive intersectional game for them. You win that, it really opens up a lot on that season. But more than anything, you got to win the turnover battle and you got to stay healthy because this team is going to need to steal possessions. I think the defense is really going to struggle this year. And they're just so thin that there's a handful of positions where if you have a couple guys go down, all of a sudden you're looking at true freshmen and walk-ons and sort of saying, well, the next man up, right? So that's really what's important for them. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of winnable games. I mean, I don't think they're in obviously position to beat at Georgia or beat in Alabama. Even Florida's asking a lot. But they are in position to not, that they're going to have a bunch of winnable games. And you got 4 games on the schedule, basically, if you count Vanderbilt, that they really should win and probably will win. And then you start looking at that South Carolina, who you're probably similarly talented to. That's going to be kind of a coin flip. And, Kentucky and Missouri, who are better than you right now, but you could beat those teams. And then Ole Miss at home. And, you're going to have a bunch of opportunities to get that 6th win. And the biggest thing that can change that, again, is your health and turnovers. I don't think it's much more complicated than that for Tennessee this year.
I think it's a real possibility. Obviously, Ole Miss is a little – they're getting better, and they're probably going to be pretty good. But it's a real possibility to go into Alabama either 6-1 or 5-2, because you go to Missouri and then you got South Carolina at home. Both of those are winnable games for this team. So,
I mean, it's plausible. I don't know that I'd bet on it. I don't know that the world would stop rotating on its axis if that happened, because winnable and going to win are 2 very different things, and we'll see kind of if they can shake that out and what kind of game they see out of Mizzou. But this team has they're going to have some opportunities, but again, if they don't stay healthy, it's going to be hard for them to take advantage.
David, they're the 19th most talented team in the country, according to Jim Bob Cooter's grandma's basement calculator.
Yes. I'm very curious where these numbers came from.
I will find it. I retweeted it or I favorited it somewhere, so I promise you I will find it and I will send it to you because it blew my mind.
Please do. I can tell you Tennessee is not the 19th most talented team in the country right
Well, Grandma's Basement's calculator disagrees, but that's okay. We'll look forward to coverage of this game on The Athletic from you tomorrow. We appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
That's David Ubben of The Athletic, and I can't wait to find that stuff. So.
Man, I tell you, I covered UT for 2 years, and
You'll never hear this again?
and I could have done without ever hearing this again.
Well, it's all right. We'll be right back. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today returns with NASCAR right after this.
school, high school sports, and beyond. It's on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Young, Mo Patton, J.P. Plant here with you inside the Lee Company studio, and we are glad to have you along with us on this Wednesday edition of the show. WKOM 101.7 FM, Front Porch Sports, also WZYX 94.5, The Eagle. We will be leaving you at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, WZYX. So if you would like to continue listening, you can do so. We've got to get the link, the Radio Boss link, tweeted out in our Twitter from now on, JP. So we'll do that. But you can also watch us on Twitter at SM_TN Sports. And you can see us on Facebook on YouTube as well. Sheesh. There's too many social medias. We need to be on Instagram. We need to be on TikTok. We need to be on this, everything. LinkedIn.
I thought you gave up on LinkedIn.
I gave up on LinkedIn. I gave up quick on LinkedIn. I'm done with them. But, yeah. So we have we're talking NASCAR here, but before we get there, we got to tell you about our fine friends at Zion Christian.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
And as we talk NASCAR, we have to talk to Terry Wilcox, the Chicken Man.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Positive.
Because you're the only one who knows anything about this.
Oh, okay.
So
Playoff start for the Cup Series. They're at Darlington. Lady in Black, track Q, tough to tame, whatever you want to call it. They're going to be a great race. Kyle Larson is the odds-on favorite, not just to win, but to win the championship this year. But it's going to be Sunday evening. I believe start time, green flag will be about 5:15 our time. If you're home Sunday night, watch it. And then they go to 2 short tracks for Saturday night races. So it should be a good race. Darlington is an amazing track. It'll eat the tires like you wouldn't believe. So you're going to have to be able to handle that car. So, but there's a lot of guys that have got a good chance to win, but Kyle Larson's just on a roll. I don't know any other way to say it, but a sleeper dark horse for me this race is the guy that's starting as 15th in the points, Tyler Reddick. He runs well on Homestead, and he runs well at the Darlington track. You have to run up against the wall, but don't hit the wall. So I expect a good race, and keep an eye on Tyler Reddick. If he doesn't get wrecked out or by his teammate, he should do well.
Terry, non-playoff related, I guess, but Kyle Busch to 23XI.
Yes, Kurt Busch.
Is it Kurt?
Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch, yeah, his brother.
Busch.
That was almost as secretive as the Brad Keselowski move, but everybody knew it was coming. They don't have a charter yet, but I just read today that one of the teams, Starcom Racing, I think it is, sold their charter, but it didn't say who they sold it to. So I think they actually had 2, but they sold one. So I got a feeling that announcement will come out. So, because without a charter, he's got to make every race because you don't have a guaranteed spot. But yeah, not surprising. It's going to be Monster Energy sponsored. It's going to look just like the one looks today, but it'll be a Toyota, and it'll be number 45. That's the only difference. And Kurt has never run a Toyota before, so it gives him a chance to run all the different manufacturers before he retires. So
he's going to run 45, huh?
Yeah, it's number 45. They had a picture of it.
Do you know why it's 45, Terry?
Do I know why it is 45? It's got to be somehow tied to, I'm assuming, Michael Jordan. Was that the number? No, that wasn't the number he wore when he changed numbers for a year.
Yes, it was.
It is.
It's also the number he wore with the Birmingham Barons.
Oh, there you go. Well, that makes perfect sense. because he changed the number and it didn't help, so he went back to. But it should be a good. Darlington's a fun race to watch. So I have not made it there, but I hope to one day. So it's one of those iconic tracks everybody needs to go to. So, and the truck and Xfinity are running this race too. Trucks are in the second race of their playoff round. Xfinity hasn't got to their playoffs yet, so who cares? But anyways,
looking back to Daytona over the last week, Bubba, as we talked about 23XI, Bubba Wallace finishes second after Buescher is DQ'd, and well done by anyone who missed the big one there late.
Yeah, that and don't forget Michael McDowell won earlier. So yeah, I mean even a blind squirrel can find a nut every now and then. But yeah, it's just a matter of surviving at Talladega and Daytona, as you know. But yeah, that's where these drivers, some of them get their best finish in their career. Well, as a matter of fact, what's the gentleman's name? BJ McLeod. He's raced 264 NASCAR races, I think it is. Got his first top 10. Amazing. So, yeah, something like that can happen. But hopefully, I'm thinking with Kurt coming on board, that's got to help because Kurt's got a wealth of knowledge in the sport. So, I look for them to team up together and hopefully do better. You want Bubba to do well. That's the bottom line. I think he got thrown to the wolves, if you will. A new team completely, and expectations were through the roof beginning of the year.
Oh, no doubt.
But you got to take a year or two just to gel with your crew chief and your crew, and I'm sure he'll do better next year. Wouldn't be surprised if he actually makes the playoffs next year.
So Coke Zero Sugar 400 last weekend. This weekend we got the Cookout Southern 500. So we're going from being on a diet to splurging, huh? Because I don't know.
Absolutely.
Do you go to Cookout often, Terry?
I don't even know what Cookout is.
Wow.
He's leading a sheltered life. But in his defense, it's not like there is one here. I noticed there's one in Dixon when I was over there Friday night.
There's not one anywhere near here. The closest, I go to the one on Charlotte. There's one on Charlotte on my way home, and then there's one on West End.
There's one in Murfreesboro.
Well, when I cook out, I do it myself, and it's a lot better. That's all I'll tell you.
I will tell you, there is not much better than Cookout at about 2:30 in the morning.
If you don't mind waiting in line.
The Waffle House says 5 a.m., right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a difference between 2:30 in the morning and 2:30 at night, right?
No, that's true.
There's a big difference between those two. So 2:30 at night is when Cookout is fantastic. Real quick, I want to ask you about, and I hope I'm saying this kid's name right, Raja Caruth. No relation to Ray Caruth. I hope he's not Raja.
No. Raja Caruth.
He's a 17-year-old kid from Washington, D.C. who will drive an Xfinity next year in the was it the Diversity?
Yeah, he's going to run in the 2022 NASCAR Xfinity Series races at Martinsville, Dover, and Richland. Splitting the ride with a couple of the co-owners of Alpha Prime Racing, apparently, Cesar Baccarella and Tommy Joe Martins.
Okay,
so the three of them are going to split a ride in Xfinity. And he is a sophomore at Winston-Salem State. I think he's going to be the third black driver in an active NASCAR series. So,
do you know, is he running the trucks at all?
No, he hasn't. He's going to go straight to Xfinity, and that's not, like you just said with Bubba, that's not usually a recipe for success.
No, that definitely isn't. There's a big learning curve, even from running late models at your local track to running Xfinity. And like you said, so much of it depends on the crew chief and the crew and the equipment. As long as they've got good equipment, but I just got a feeling, sometimes somebody gets a ride like that in one of those lower tier series and the equipment cannot hold up, and it, and you just hope they don't get frustrated with the equipment being the problem. So
apparently he made his ARCA Menards East Series debut in February at New Smyrna. Finished 11th. He's made 7 starts in that series, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and he's ranked 6th with a race at Bristol in a couple of weeks remaining. So.
Oh, well, good. So I mean, yeah, he's got ARCA, and the ARCA cars are some of like when Ty Gibbs runs in it, it's basically they're a cup team, but all the other ones are just a couple-year-old cars, so they're very similar to the cup cars, just maybe not as much horsepower and stuff like that. But hopefully the equipment is good enough. Like that'll be the key. If the equipment holds up, that's what you got to. But good. Kudos to them for putting them in that car. We need more drivers, younger drivers, to get in the sport. Move some of these old guys like Kevin Harvick out of the way, and agree with the young guys. So
yeah, no doubt.
Kevin Harvick is the last. He's actually the 16th position of the 16 drivers. So we'll see how he does. The guys at the bottom are probably going to have to win one of the first 3 races. Either him or Reddick. They probably need to win a race to advance past the first 3 races. But anything's possible. It happens. So. But
Terry, tell us when you will be on the air this weekend, or if you will be on the air this weekend.
Now we've actually gone to an automated system, and so my pre-race show is going to be a casualty of that. No sense to me going in for 30 minutes on Sunday. So that may change, but for this week, I will not be doing it. I will be back on the air Wednesday on this awesome show, giving my thoughts of Darlington.
Well, I'll tell you what, if the pre-race show is a casualty, but you bring that knowledge to this segment, we'll take that.
Absolutely. And by the way, I got my notification in the mail today. I will be getting the Main Street Press delivered to my house. I am super excited. It's an unbelievable, great newspaper.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We have worked very hard. MainStreetMurray.com.
I can tell you the paper will be coming to your mailbox, but no check. Terry, the check is not in the mail. That was.
We appreciate the free ad.
We sure do.
I do. I missed the fine print. Son of a gun.
Hey Terry,
Yes, sir.
we have to say goodbye to our friends in Franklin County after this segment. So let's give them something to smile about, and let's get silly with T. Willie before we let you out of here.
Absolutely. Hey, why'd the guy get fired from the banana factory?
He was slipping.
Nope, he kept throwing out the bent one.
That's never good. You can't do that. You can't do that at all, man. Terry Wilcox, NASCAR segment each and every Wednesday right here on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Terry, we appreciate your time, man.
Hey, thank you, guys. Good show as always.
All right. When we return, we have so much to talk about. We have the Atlanta Braves. We have Jacksonville State UAB football. Talk a little bit about that. Just a tiny bit, I promise. Talk about Jacksonville Jaguars and New Orleans Saints, all of that. And, of course, it's Wild and Wacky Wednesday, so we'll have that. So if you are listening to us on WZYX and you want to continue listening, find us on WKOMradio.com. You can do that. Or you can watch us on Twitter at SM_TN Sports or on YouTube. So there you go. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. When we come back, it is Atlanta Braves baseball on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. So stick around right after this.
when the Braves play. Chris and Mo are talking about it,
Yeah, that's trash can juice.
Speak for yourself.
for better or worse, on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Back to the Lee Company studio. Yep, they're fans too. Here's Chris and Mo.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. 6 minutes past the hour as we get started on your drive home. Glad to have you all with us here on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. September 1. Can you believe it? Doesn't feel like September.
Time flies when you're having fun.
20 days away from our anniversary on this show.
We need to figure out how we're going to celebrate that. I know what we did for 6 months. The 21st is on a Tuesday.
That seems to be the anniversary day this year.
Maybe we try another front porch party with a little bit more planning.
If we start it now, we might be able to actually get one planned.
yeah.
It's not a bad idea. We could always just throw a very close-knit party with some
Some of our closest friends.
brisket, bacon, and bourbon. I'm here for that.
Oh, bacon.
You get some good bacon from Petersburg. What do you think?
And maybe we can rope DeVere into.
Oh, that too. Yeah. We'll get the bacon from Petersburg and let DeVere cook it.
That's what I'm talking
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
No other way around it right there.
I like it, a triple P party.
That's right.
about. Bacon dropped off in the middle of the night. The bacon ferry.
The bacon fairy came by.
Put a cooler out on your porch before you go to bed. Go out the next morning and there's bacon in it. It don't get no better than that.
It really doesn't. Smith Farms down in Lincoln County area. Delicious stuff.
That was awesome.
It was good bacon. We are getting ready to talk about the Atlanta Braves, but we're also stalling because last night was a heartbreaker. But it was exactly what I told you. You know, we did what we had to do against Walker Buehler, and Charlie Morton did what he had to do against the L.A. Dodgers.
And then the
We
bullpens got involved.
Just couldn't quite pull it out. You know,
I really wasn't even mad.
you can't be.
I'm not mad about either of these losses. I mean, LA is good.
And you had a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, you were
all
competitive
you
in
can
both
ask
those
for.
ball games. They are the, defending World Series champions.
It's just like Brad Shepard said last night on Twitter. He said, we're simply just not as good as the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I have to accept that. And that's the truth.
That's the absolute truth. And the thing is, in a series, you don't necessarily have to be as good as them.
That's right. We saw it last year.
You just got to beat them 4 times out
And
of 7. And I would, if you told me right now that the Braves and the Dodgers will play in the NLCS best of 7, I'll take my chances.
yeah, with the lineup we have right now, with the pitchers we have right now, I take my chances, no doubt. And here's the thing, last night was tough, but I'm putting all the blame on Chip. Literally, every time the man said something, the exact opposite happened. Oh, Charlie Morton has retired 7 straight. Mookie Betts homer. Next pitch, Mookie Betts homer. And then he said I think it was in the 5th, he said Morton has found his groove. He sat down the last 6 he's faced, and then single. And then they get runners on first and second, and he has to pitch out of that. And then getting out of that was insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the ground ball that Freddie, he just let it go under. Well, I say let it. I mean, he tried for it. He didn't. It wasn't like he just whiffed at it. But for Adrianza to be able to get to it, and then Morton to make the catch, kind of over his, across his body. Well done there. A lot of luck went the way of the Braves last night early, and then it kind of fell away. And then, of course, Luke Jackson. He talks about Luke, Luke hasn't given up a run in however long, and then Matzik hasn't given up a run in 18 innings. So
Boom. Yeah.
it just unfortunate situation.
But as unfortunate as things were last night, it could have been worse because Ozzie
sure.
doesn't have any structural damage from that ball that he fouled off his left knee. And I still don't understand how you do that, for one thing. You're batting left-handed, you foul a ball off of your left knee.
I think, well, I mean, I've seen
And I
it.
saw it, but I still don't understand.
Same thing happened to Christian Yelich. We were very lucky because that's exactly what happened to Christian Yelich.
Well, it was his front knee, though, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but the way it happens is the ball's already coming that direction. It's a breaking ball coming at you.
And you only get a piece of
and
it?
you get a piece of it just to sharpen the
break,
and then boom, it just – and, of course, obviously he strides forward and his knee's going forward, so it was a very difficult thing to watch because I thought at first, okay, he's just got a dead leg, and that ended up what it basically was.
I didn't think it hit his knee. I thought it hit
the meat.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's it. That is, in fact, what it hit.
Yeah.
But when they started carrying him off, that's when I got worried.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that was just a precaution. They were able to find out that X-rays were negative, as Chip said twice last night. Negative.
It was, for what it's worth, Yelich's right knee, and he does bat left-handed. So, but yeah, still same principle.
So it's. I'm just glad that we don't have to worry about that. He's day to day. We'll see him, and we've got an Arcia coming up, along with, for God knows what reason, Jacob Webb. I forgot we even had Jacob Webb on the team.
Yeah, well, we didn't have him on the team because he was in Gwinnett. But
I meant, I didn't even know he was still in the system. I thought he was gone.
Did you think somebody traded for him?
I thought that we just decided he was not. His services were no longer needed.
Well,
maybe I decided that and just put it in my head.
You just shunned
Forgot
Jacob
he
Webb, huh? Meanwhile, Josh Tomlin
Still
went
has
on
the
the
spot.
Well, he's on the 10-day IL with a strained neck.
I can't imagine why. I'm sure your neck does get strained when you keep doing this the whole game.
That was exactly what I tweeted. Whiplash, I presume.
That is watching a home run for those radio listeners that didn't see whiplash. Yes.
Whiplash.
Whiplash, I presume.
Oh, that's so good.
Makes sense.
It makes a ton of sense. There you go.
And I would never wish bad health on anyone, but I hope Josh Tomlin takes his time
getting back
in making sure that his neck is healthy. I mean, that might be something that keeps him out for the rest of the year.
I would just hate for that to happen. I mean, he's on the 10 days, so
take your time, bro.
The 10-day is what you use when you don't know exactly how long somebody's going to be.
Yeah.
And you don't want to.
But you don't want to put them on the 60 because once they're on the 60, then they're done. But maybe they should
put him on the 60. Yep. Can't imagine. Tonight, what have we got?
Tonight we have the final game of the 3-game series. Braves coming in at 70-61 with a 2.5 game lead over the Phillies in the NL East. Dodgers 84-49. Again, it's a 9-10 start on Bally Sports South. 7:55 pregame on WKRM 103.7 FM. Max Fried 11-7 with a 3.54 ERA takes the ball for the Braves. Max Scherzer 12-4 with a 2.51 goes to the bump for the Dodgers. So it's the battle of the. I guess we'll be maxed out.
Where you at, JP?
No, he's don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You
sad day.
You missed the moment.
Yeah. Oh, he wanted the. No, that was a good one. I'll give you that. I just wasn't expecting it. So Max Scherzer. And I appreciate your season statistics, but I'm going to go with this one because it makes me feel better. Max Scherzer in his career is 10-9 against the Braves with an ERA of 4.04.
Oh, I like that one a lot better. Yeah. Yeah, that's way better.
So I'm just going to go with that one.
That's fine. I ain't even mad at you.
And we've seen Scherzer plenty. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a guy that we saw a lot in Washington. So I actually feel pretty good going into tonight because he's a guy that we've had success against in the past. Now, obviously, it's the Dodgers, and there's something about those royal blue uniforms that I think it's the random red number that throws us off.
It does just kind of come out of nowhere
so
in
random.
in that color scheme.
It's like, where did that? There's no red anywhere. Where did this come from?
Yeah, they hit Bueller last night. I mean, they only scored 2 runs, but it's 2 more than I thought they would.
And Austin Riley hit 2 absolute
Bullets.
rocket shots, and Travis d'Arnaud hit 2 to the warning track, and then had the shot down the left field line for the RBI.
Yeah,
double.
if anybody else had been playing right field but Mookie Betts, that ball would have been a home run.
Yeah. I mean, and then
Because I'm not sure anybody else gets to.
I mean, outside of Acuna, that's about it.
Yeah.
Acuna and Betts would have been the two right fielders who could have gotten to that ball.
Yeah.
And that's it. And yeah, it would have been a home run. Then you're looking at 3-1 and
Yeah.
3-3, and it's a whole thing. But I feel comfortable going into a game against Scherzer because we have comfortability with him. We have familiarity with him. He's a guy that we face a lot. So
Yeah. Looking to avoid the sweep. So hopefully they can get this one tonight before they go to Colorado for 4.
yeah, because the Phillies are taking care of business in Washington,
Yeah, well, they're doing what they're supposed to do against the Nats.
and we're doing what we're supposed to do against the Dodgers. If you're being honest.
Yeah, right. Today in Braves history, September 1st, 1999, the Boone Boys became the 12th brothers to hit home runs in the same game, as following Brett's 3rd inning 2-run homer for the Braves off Cincinnati's Ron Valone, Aaron retaliated with an 8th inning solo shot off of Atlanta's Mike Remlinger. It was too little too late, though, for the Reds, as Atlanta held on for an 8-7 victory at what was then Synergy Field, what is now the Great American Small Park.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Also today, as you posted on Facebook, was
the debut,
the debut of Freddie Freeman, FF5.
FF5.
So that's pretty cool. I don't know what he did in his debut, but he debuted today. Nashville Sounds. Did they play last night?
They did not play last
So-
night. They got rained out last night. So they play tonight.
That's right. They play tonight. It's Dylan Fowle and Hunter Green. Same matchup, so they're just going to push everybody a day. That makes sense.
And tomorrow's a doubleheader.
Tomorrow is a double header. So should be fun up in Louisville if you are headed that way to drink some bourbon or whatever. If you are headed that way, if there are some people who are headed that way, Mo, right now, because Old Forester birthday bourbon comes out tomorrow morning, and I'm sure there are some folks camping out in Louisville at Brown Foreman.
Oh, I hate you all.
So if you're out there, if you're out there,
Bring us a bottle back.
secondary market prices on that are just insane.
We can't afford
You ever had birthday bourbon, JP?
Not the birthday. I've had the traditional Old Forester.
Old Forester birthday bourbon is among the top 3 bourbons in the world, for me, personal opinions. But anyway,
It is bourbon season.
it
Of course,
is.
when is it not? But it is true bourbon season.
It's time, especially since Friday night's gonna be like 56 degrees the low. So I'm gonna wear long
Come on.
pants. I'm gonna wear those pants that like you can
Zip off.
zip off. So I can start with shorts and put my pants and put pants on later.
Question is, can you zip those things on while you're doing other things? That's not as
halftime.
easy as it looks.
Halftime. That's when you do it. Coming back, talking college football, JSU and UAB tonight, and then, of course, some Jacksonville Jaguars. So stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today returns right after this.
Covering the teams you care about. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Once again, live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. Here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Day, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint, as we continue on this Wednesday edition of the show. Wild and Wacky Wednesday, because we will get wild and wacky in the next segment. As I'm scrolling through Twitter, as I want to do, see a Jawan Jennings basketball poster hanging up in the Blackman locker room.
Say what?
Yeah. Congratulations on making the 53-man roster. Blaze Basketball is proud of you.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's a great picture, too. He's dunking and everything. He's like, hey, come on.
He could go.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. MLB tweets out, which 25 and under star are you taking? Ronald Acuna Jr., Juan Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Fernando Tatis Jr., and they say there's no wrong answer, to which the Gwinnett Stripers replied, yeah,
There's
but
three
there
wrong
is
answers.
a right answer.
There's three wrong answers, actually.
There may not be a wrong answer, but there is a right one.
No question. Yeah. Good for Gwinnett.
That was a good one. I thought that was cool. So yeah. Anyway, let's talk a little bit tonight. Again, college football kicking off. Jacksonville State UAB. I have a poll on my Twitter at ChrisYao14 if you want to weigh in on who you think's going to win. UAB led by Jacksonville State alumnus Bill Clark.
And former Vanderbilt quarterback Larry Smith is on his staff as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
From Prattville.
Prattville. Gotta love Prattville.
I think he's receivers coach.
Larry Smith was a dude at Prattville. I mean, a dude.
He was a dude at times at Vanderbilt.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, that kid was
I can
just,
imagine.
It was like watching butter. Just smooth running down the field. But, yes, Bill Clark, a JSU alumnus and former coach of the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, where he led them to the playoffs 1 year before taking over. He only coached there 1 year. Led them to the playoffs, took over the UAB job, and then made his way through the death penalty that they were
self-imposed.
Yeah, well, imposed by someone within their system. They get the death penalty from the UAT Board of Trustees, and he sticks around, brings them back to life, raises money, and UAB now the defending Conference USA champions. I know. Would you can you, like, as someone who watched this team through the 90s and 2000s, just saying that blows my mind. It's wild to me that UAB is the defending Conference USA champion, and they've won it
How
twice.
many times
in 3
you gonna
years.
say it?
It's wild.
How many times you gonna say it?
I'm still trying
as
to.
I sit here as an MTSU graduate,
I'm
how
still
many
trying to
times
believe it. I'm still trying to believe it.
Good Lord.
It's
Meanwhile,
insane.
we can't get out of our own way.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is going to be a good year for MTSU. I really do. I have hope for the Blue Raiders. I don't know that they're going to be on the level of UAB, but
I don't need your condescension over there.
I'm serious. I think the quarterback situation is in a good spot. I think they have a really good offensive coordinator.
I am encouraged by.
Now, defensively, I don't know.
I think they've got some guys on the defensive side that can be competitive in Conference USA. I am encouraged by what we're hearing about Brent with an N. Yeah, and what he wants to do offensively. And, that's not necessarily to take any shots at the previous OC. It's just that I think they need to be a little bit more balanced. I think they need to be a little bit less QB run centric than they've been in
and
the
I think
past.
the quarterbacks that they have will give them that option.
Yeah, so I'm
Anyway.
I'm cautiously optimistic, but I don't need to keep hearing about defending CUSA champions.
Well,
over
UAB
here, so.
coming through, and Jacksonville State led by John Gross, former high school coach who was the offensive coordinator under Bill Clark in that 1 year that they went to the playoffs, FCS playoffs in 2014, and then he took them to a national title game where they were promptly destroyed by Carson Wentz and North Dakota State Bison.
It's not like y'all were the only ones.
JSU is a team that has lost in overtime to Auburn. They lost. They were leading Florida State in 2009 with 1 minute and 14 seconds to go in the game and lost. FSU scored twice in a minute 14 to beat them.
They were leading Florida State at halftime last year, weren't they?
They were leading Florida State at halftime last year, and they beat Ole Miss in 2011, I think. So this is not a team that you can take lightly if you're any FBS team. They were the only FCS team to beat an FBS team in the fall of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that was another CUSA team. I think it was Florida Atlantic that they defeated. So this is going to be a good game tonight. This is not going to be your typical FCS, FBS, not going to be entertaining because there are plenty of storylines to get excited about. And if you really listen to hopefully the folks on the broadcast will have some sort of knowledge about this type of stuff, and I'm sure they will. 6:30 on ESPN.
So you're telling me that this is going to be a better game than Nebraska Illinois on Saturday?
By far, and it won't be close. So yeah, they're playing in Montgomery because hey, what better way to take two teams from North Alabama and put them in a neutral site in South Alabama?
Well, it'll be neutral.
So whatever.
Jacksonville State and UAB are playing
the Crampton Bowl.
Why?
Because it's the Guardian kickoff. So there you go.
How much will that dampen the crowd on a Wednesday night?
It won't. There are a ton of UAB people in Montgomery right now.
But what about JSU people, though?
JSU people are from Georgia anyway, so it's hard to decide. I don't know. I think you'll see a pretty good JSU crowd because I do think a lot of them are in the Gulf area, and I don't know why that is, but we have a lot of people at tailgates who are from the Gulf, so they'll probably be able to drive up a little easier. But I think you'll see it. I think the stadium holds like 28,000 or something. Mm-hmm. It'll be close to a sellout, so it'll be a good atmosphere.
It should be a good atmosphere.
Well, I'll be watching until about 9:10.
No, I'm
probably
good. I'll keep up with if the Braves start winning, I might start watching, but that's typically when they start losing is when I
start watching.
On. So yeah. I try to stick around.
Well, you keep watching UAB and JSU then.
Tulane working out in Tuscaloosa prior to that Oklahoma game on Saturday.
Yeah, I wonder if there was a caveat that they have to scrimmage against Alabama in order to share their practice facility.
I think they would have just stayed in Birmingham if that was the case.
That's kind of what I think, too.
Meanwhile, as we move to the NFL, Tennessee Titans out is Matt Barkley. So Logan Woodside is your backup quarterback, as I predicted. Thank you.
I don't think there was any real argument.
No, there wasn't. Not from this group. I'm just saying I predicted it. But in, however, is Corey Levin, who was cut by the Jets.
Drafted out of Chattanooga, formerly University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. But anyway, second time around with the Titans. They really like him. So
I think he's going to be a positive there.
Yeah.
Here's kind of really what I want to deep dive into on the NFL side. Depending on who you listen to,
mm-hmm.
the Jacksonville Jaguars either did or did not use COVID vaccination status as a reason or a factor in cutting some players.
I will tell you that all 32 NFL teams used COVID vaccination as a factor in cutting players.
As they
31 should. Of them did not run off at the mouth about it.
Well, Urban Meyer, right?
When you say rookie mistake, maybe? Yeah.
Listen,
I don't know if it was a rookie
Well,
mistake
he's
or if it was
used-
just a mistake. He's used to doing what he wants to do and saying what he wants to say.
Without any repercussions.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that's all it was, too. But I agree with you. I think all 32 teams are doing this.
Absolutely.
let me say, I'm gonna play Captain Chaos.
No, not you.
And I'm gonna sit right on the middle of this fence here because I think
It's going to get kind of sharp in a minute.
if you're using COVID vaccination as a reason for potentially cutting someone on the premise that, well, they could catch COVID and give it to our team. Well, we've pretty well seen that that's possible with 97% vaccinated teams. I think the NFL has got to make that rule more clear.
Which rule is that?
They've got the COVID
Requiring
list,
a
the COVID
vaccination?
list rule. If you, I think there has to be some way of incentivizing being vaccinated.
I think they've gone probably about as far as they can legally with the players' union. I think.
That players' union is trash can juice.
Well, maybe, but
Well, that players' union is what's got Urban in trouble.
yep.
Well,
Players' union has a little power.
they have no backbone. This is the first time they've ever shown any kind of backbone in the history of the NFLPU. But yes, I guess my point is it shouldn't matter whether you are vaccinated or you're not, because as the rule currently sits, whether you get COVID and you're vaccinated or not, you got to sit out.
The testing is different, though, right?
I think the thing is,
Sure, the testing is different.
Whether you're vaccinated or not.
I think the feeling is the more people that we have vaccinated, the less our chances are. And I think that's the theory. Now, I'm not saying it's accurate. I'm saying I think that's the theory. And so if you are trying to put together your 53 players, if you're saying, okay, we've got two guys over here for one spot, one of them's vaccinated, one of them isn't.
You take the vaccinated one.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't disagree. That's what I'm saying. I think it makes it easier for these teams if there are less
And if
harsh
if you are a fringe guy
yeah.
who's not vaccinated, then you're putting yourself in a bad position for whatever reason you have for doing so.
I just think that the NFL should come up with a better way to handle COVID positive cases rather than forcing players to sit out for 10 days.
What would that way be?
I think that is their way to incentivize players to get the vaccine. I think they went over and above the harshness of that, just the mere whiff.
Just
of,
to try
of a
to make
positive.
it so onerous
Exactly.
to
why
deal
even
with.
take the chance?
Yeah, just go ahead and get the shot. I think that's what they are trying. They're trying to make it harder on the unvaccinated.
I guess.
You know, whether it's deserved or not, I think that's what they're trying to do.
I guess I just have a problem with guys who we've basically forced them to be vaccinated if they don't want to deal with a bunch of crap, like we just said.
Right.
But if they get COVID anyway, to no fault of their own, they still got to sit out 10 days, and that's unfortunate. And it's gonna drastically affect this season. I mean, if Ryan Tannehill can't play in week 1 because of COVID, which he's going to be able to, but if he couldn't, I mean that completely changes whether who you have as a backup quarterback, whether or not you call Cam Newton. I don't. It just
Who supposedly is unvaccinated, by the way.
right. So I don't know. That's just nuts. Speaking of nuts,
That's kind of where we're at.
It is. We're in a situation we don't know. But speaking of nuts, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to play a game in week 1 on their field at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. And then at 4:25 Eastern time, the New Orleans Saints are going to take on the Green Bay Packers on that same field. That's ridiculous, and it's going to get someone hurt because if the field isn't in the best shape possible, it's just going to be bad. What is the NFL thinking? So
I don't get that.
I don't get it either. I wish we could talk more about it, but
There
we
will
don't
be.
have time.
We'll have more time to talk about it though. Just
We
not
will.
now.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday comes up right after this, so stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today returns.
It's Wild and Wacky Wednesday on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today with the two zaniest guys this side of the Duck River. It's like you joined a circus or something. Here's Chris and Mo.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Yes, we are back.
Welcome to the circus.
Welcome to the circus. It's Wednesday, and we have successfully navigated through an entire hour and 45 minutes of sports talk. So we're gonna get a little wild and wacky, giving you the weirdest and wildest news from across the world. So excited to do it because this is always one of my favorites, especially when I don't have all criminals, dumb criminals.
Not
This-
all criminals.
Yeah, there's
You got more than just criminals?
yes.
Do you have some dumb criminals?
I do have one, and
Okay.
I'll give you a
Okay.
guess
You got
on
one.
I'll give you a guess on where they're from.
Florida.
It's got to be.
Nailed it. All right.
And
let's
it's a
see.
male, right?
Florida man,
Florida
of
man.
course.
Florida
Yep.
man.
All right, so we'll start off with this because I've asked you guys these questions before. Obviously, neither of you were on dating apps.
Speak for
A
yourself.
long time ago. Yeah,
Well, you weren't on apps. You might have had
that's true.
maybe on
Oh,
websites
okay, that's a
or
good
something.
point.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
websites. They,
Okay.
they weren't apps.
No.
Yeah, I was not swiping left or
No,
right.
no, there was no swiping.
So it wasn't, it wasn't at your fingertips as easily as it is
Now,
That's correct.
now but Colin O'Brien, a 29-year-old guy in St. Louis, he got really tired of those apps because they weren't working for him. So he went old school. He created a website, datecolinobrien.com,
Okay.
and 10 days ago he posted into the Facebook group, quote, date ideas and things to do in St. Louis. 200 eligible women replied to him, and 13 of them have lined up dates with Colin O'Brien. So I'm just saying, if you're out there and you're not having success on Tinder or Hinge or any other dating app that there might be,
Take it to the people.
and if you're an IT guy
and
who can create his own website,
Squarespace.com. Simple. You don't even have to be IT. You just have to be able to work with squares. And buy you a domain, datecolinobrien.com, and there you go. 200 women, 13 dates.
Colin, C-O-L,
C-O-L-I-N, one L.
one L.
O'Brien with an E. I mean, first of all, this guy moved from Chicago, right? Colin O'Brien in
That's-
St. Louis.
Yeah,
Or
or,
is there-
or from Boston.
Well, is there a large
Irish contingent
in
in St. Louis.
Is that a thing? I don't know. I've never been. I mean, I've been there, but I've not spent much time there on purpose. I don't know. They got redheads and methamphetamines.
That's all they got.
He's got a testimonial from a Tony Award winner.
A Tony Award winner that he
as
did,
well
he
as-
dated?
No. Well, I don't know. It just says Colin is hilarious. He's funny. He's a good guy. He makes things happen. He's kooky. He comes off like he's got it all together, but underneath that, he's got this vulnerable heart. This is from Tony Award winner Faith Price, who likes Colin but wouldn't date him.
I
Maybe
guess,
she's married.
clearly.
I don't know.
She's not one of the quote eligible.
Apparently not. So,
So I'm curious. Since it stated,
He's the perfect guy for my daughter, said Laura McGee, whose daughter has refused to date Colin.
that's so good.
question I have: how many uneligible ladies decided to get on that?
I mean,
Of
he's
the
got
200
13
plus.
dates, so I feel like he's in good shape at this point.
That's a pretty good number, pretty
Like-
good ratio.
Like, I feel like if you can't, find somebody that you want to spend at least, a couple hours a week with out of 13, it might not be them.
That's right.
There's that.
That's all I'm saying.
Or the app.
Or the apps. So, good on you, Colin, for thinking outside the box, sir.
Yes.
All right, let's move on because when's the last time you guys went to a wedding as a guest?
Wow.
Oh,
it's
goodness.
been a couple of years, I
It's
think.
been a
I don't
while.
think. Yeah, not since COVID.
No.
Definitely pre-COVID.
I can't tell you the last time I went to a wedding as a guest, because everybody that I know that
Yeah, that question really is only for you. I mean, why else would we go to a wedding?
right, obviously.
You work weddings.
I do.
For
So
those that
I go to
don't know.
weddings all the time, and typically, even if they're my friends, I end up
DJing
working the
anyway.
wedding. So, yeah, but just as a guest, have you ever been to a destination wedding?
No.
My wedding was a destination wedding,
Okay.
and I'm going to one Memorial Day. One
Next year.
of
Well,
next of 2020. Yeah, 2022.
Two.
Yeah, local coach.
Anybody we know?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so let me ask you this then, JP, because where was your wedding?
St. George
Saint-
Island, Florida, right across the bay from Apalachicola,
All right.
hour east of Panama City.
With it being a destination wedding, you had to have your RSVPs. You had to know how many people were coming, right? Like, I mean,
Yes.
I assume you had like a package of some sort.
Well, we just told everybody it's this week. Let us know if you decide to come. Here are the options of staying. So those that
Gotcha.
showed up, yeah.
Well,
Yes,
that's not. Apparently, that's not how this couple did it, because
Okay.
they apparently, this is Jamaica, so
Okay.
apparently they prepaid certain, for like dinner and that sort of thing.
Okay.
For
X number of
for
people.
X number of people who
Okay.
RSVP'd in their plus ones. For those who failed to show up, they sent them an invoice for $120 per person.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I can't be mad at them.
I can't either.
Yeah,
I mean, if they said they were coming and then they didn't come,
It's Jamaica. You can't just. You have to understand that there are consequences if you don't show up, right?
Yeah, that's unlike ours. Ours didn't have any built-in cost or predetermined cost. It was, here's where we're going. Here are some options to stay. Come
so
join
you didn't
us.
do any kind of dinner or anything like that.
Nothing
that
that prepaid. No.
Right. So,
No, yeah.
I mean, you just
Show
that-
up and hang out or
Yeah.
don't.
So if you RSVP'd to our wedding and didn't make it, it wasn't the end of the world. We weren't
It
out
didn't
to
cost
anything.
you anything.
Correct.
Well, these people were, and
Yeah. That's a different story.
and I don't blame them.
And they're trying to recoup it.
Yep.
Apparently, some of the guests who failed to show have since apologized. I don't know if they've paid the invoices or not.
Well,
I don't want your apology. I just want your 240 at this point.
I need the 240 and delete my number. Like that's kind of where I'm at. in this
Just
situation.
send that cost, 150% maybe as their wedding gift.
No,
200%.
no, I want the cash.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Double it.
Oh,
Recoup the cost and then add that much more on top as the wedding gift.
punitive. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Punitive damages.
Well, in the event
Surcharges.
that Tiffany Cherie was invited to said wedding and did not show up, she would have no problem paying her $240 invoice because she quit her job and now makes $1,000 a week dumpster diving.
Makes
Dumpster
$1,000 a week dumpster diving.
You heard me. A mother of 4 in Dallas quit her full-time job because she's making $1,000 a week dumpster diving. Essentially, she's looking for merchandise tossed out from stores and then resells it online. It's called upcycling or picking, right? Like these pickers who are out antiquing, right? It's the same thing, except she's just getting the stuff that stores are throwing out. Now, I will say, when I was in Chattanooga for that wedding that was in Cleveland, Sarah is walking behind like Michael's or something, and they put out a bunch of plastic tubs, and so she put them in the stroller and took them back to the house. But yeah, $1,000 a week dumpster diving.
I don't know, man.
You be you. Hey.
I used the phrase in here off air about a week or so ago. That's one of those that strikes me as I'm not sure the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, literally, if she's not literally dumpster diving, then that's one thing. But there's just something about
Well, you have
It
to.
doesn't sound like
It's
she's actually.
not, and here's the thing: she's going out behind stores like Victoria's Secret, Bed Bath & Beyond, Party City, and Ulta.
And they're actually throwing.
Oh yeah, they throw stuff away all the time. Because I mean,
Well,
if
she's
it's
probably not
discontinued
the
or-
only one doing it then.
No, but she lives in Dallas, so I mean, there's plenty of options, right?
Oh yeah.
Now,
And I guess if you're going at night after the stores are closed or whatever, then it'd be tough to work a real job anyway.
apparently they toss new or returned merchandise they can't sell for whatever reason. So like if it's returned or whatever, and it doesn't have a tag on it or something like that, they can't. Or maybe you went to Bed Bath & Beyond and you got a pillow or whatever, and they can't resell it. I don't know. I mean, you just take that, you put it on eBay and or Facebook Marketplace, and I'm sure somebody's going to buy it, right?
Somebody
Because
is going
one
to buy it.
man's trash is another man's treasure, right? So
Literally,
there,
huh?
there you go. She looks for things that she can sell, and she is on TikTok at Dumpster Diving Mama, where she shares her quote scores. It's not technically illegal to do it. If dumpsters are on private property, there's no trespassing sign.
Technically, I love that.
Well, the only way it would be
Well, I mean,
is
if it's thrown away,
Yeah.
it's trash. I mean, it's just like picking up off the side of the road. The only difference is like if there's a no trespassing sign and it's on private property,
Yeah.
that'd be about it. But all right, last one. You ever sold a car and said, "Hey, before I give you this car that I just sold you, let me take it for one last hurrah"?
I did that with a car that had a lease on. The night before. Went out and spun the tires one last time. Yeah,
That's good.
nothing crazy, but yeah, I had one last hurrah.
Spencer Everett of Greenville, North Carolina, reached an agreement to sell his 2020 Chevy Corvette Stingray recently. He was supposed to hand over the keys a couple days ago. On Monday, he decided to take it out for one last hurrah, and he gunned it. But he lost control of the car, drove off the road into a ditch, and flipped it onto its side. The car was a total wreck, but Spencer wasn't hurt. Safe to say the sale is off, and since these cars are sought after, he was probably in line to get a pile of cash. There's no word on what he was selling it for, but on top of everything else, he was charged with reckless driving.
Ooh.
And they weren't wrong. I mean, he was. I mean, technically, he wasn't reckless because he did wreck it. But come on, man.
that's tough.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's gonna be tough to top last
You
week.
gotta earn those.
It's gonna be tough to
Yeah,
top last
you gotta
week.
earn those. Yep.
Oh man, but yeah, so that's tough. A Corvette, I get it. Like take it out, but don't do something stupid.
Too late. You did something stupid.
Yeah, not smart.
Not smart.
Just simply not smart.
Oh, not smart at all. That's it for Wild and Wacky Wednesday. People out here crazy, man. Dumpster diving, taking cars out for crazy drives.
Did I miss Florida, man?
Oh man, I didn't get to it.
You got about a minute left.
Well, I didn't. I apparently didn't have it pulled up like I thought I did.
Tease.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
I'm sure there's something out there. If you want a Florida man,
There are plenty of options.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
There's
So-
always a Florida man.
there's always a Florida man. Never fails.
There's no shortage of.
We will come back tomorrow at 4:00 and
Tell you about Florida Man.
tell you about Florida Man. No. So yes, come back tomorrow. We've got high school football coverage wall to wall tomorrow, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Stick around for that all day tomorrow. Again, 4:00. Hope you guys will stick with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then Friday, we're going to talk college football all day long. Tons of college football. You won't want to miss it. So again, hang out with us. Find us on Twitter at SM_TNsports.com, MainStreetPreps.com, all of those fun places, at Chris Yao 14, at Mopatin_sports, and at JPPSEC. For Mr. Plant and Mo Patton, I'm Chris Yao saying have a great day. Stay cool, Columbia.